Today, we spiral further into absurdity with this week's episode of the L Word Generation Q, Season 3, Episode 8, Quality Family Time. This episode, despite airing in January, is taking place in Thanksgiving, but as confirmed by some lines in this episode, even the L Word Generation Q writer's room isn't keeping track of their own timeline anymore.
Mark is a show in August, September.
So I guess why should we? It continues to get maddening over here in Generation Q land. I'm going to be talking specifically about the episode, and I have already posted my trailer breakdown if you want to go and see that, but I will also discuss kind of coming up in the next 2 episodes and just how I feel in general about how things are going. So stick around for that at the end. Make sure you're subscribed, and let's get right into it.
You need to be on medication.
I just really quickly wanted to say, please excuse my makeup today. I have like burning eyes and skin around my eyes, and my makeup is like streaming and not sticking in places. So I've tried for like the last hour to sort it out, but it's just not cooperating. So sorry if it comes across weird on camera. But anyway, speaking of things that come across poorly on camera, let's get on to this week's episode of the L Word Generation Q. So I'm going to go through, as always, with the characters, and then at the end, I'll kind of talk about everything together and how I feel going into the last 2 episodes. So I'm going to start off with Dani and Dre because I really don't have much to say about them other than I absolutely fucking hate this. Like, I hate I don't use the word hate a lot, but I've just gone off the deep end now. I do not like Dani and Dre. I don't like the Dre character. No connection, no feeling. I don't see any chemistry, and it is absolutely maddening to see Dani and Dre basically like act out what all of us wanted for Dani and Gigi. So I really, every time they come on, I just get irrationally angry, and I just think about the fact that not only is Gigi gone, but the fact they haven't said anything. And that actually is just annoying me even more than the fact that she's gone. Just that they're not saying anything and continuing this like week after week. Like, are they just never going to address it? They're never going to say anything. I actually have a theory that does have some substance behind it, and that is that they are actively avoiding interviews because they do not want to be asked about the Gigi thing. I mean, I'm always trying to get interviews, but of course, you know, Showtime, just anything with the L word, they do not want to know. Like anybody else, I know people who have podcast YouTube channels that have a few hundred subscribers, and Showtime cannot do enough for these people. But, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and you know what I'm saying. I keep going on about this, but it's just infuriating. But anyway, I have my own opinion on some things that I've been told, but also I know people that are actively trying to get interviews, and it's just stonewall. So to anyone who does get an interview and doesn't just regurgitate the same 10 fucking questions we ask every time, please can someone ask what the hell is going on, because that'd be great. The only thing was that we got that one line about her dad's in prison, so guess he got found guilty. And I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess. So moving on to Micah, Maribel, I really have nothing else to say here. The whole gummy thing, and as I said last week, it is hard to come across intoxicated or substance minded or whatever you want to say on camera. And yeah, I did not care for any of this. I just see it as stuff that I have no interest in. I don't think there's any substance behind it at all, and it's ticking boxes. So moving on. This review is just painful. So moving on, I guess these are more the storylines that I did like in the episode, and that's like Carrie, Finley. The Tess stuff I think could be interesting, and then Shane and Angie. So I'll just start with Carrie and Misty. I actually am enjoying them being on the show. I have always said, like, I like Rosie O'Donnell. I think especially now that you've lost so many of the adults in the room, that it is nice to have someone who seems to have like their life actually together. And I am pretty interested in the storyline, but it is not enough to sustain me. Like, this is like a nice little like added in bit, but this isn't, you know, the riveting content that I would be passionate about. And I think that is my ultimate grievance with everything, is that this at the moment is just so passable. Like, it is just, nobody is going to get fired up about this. Nobody is going to be passionate about this. I am not going to continue to get up at fucking 3:30 in the morning for this. So yes, I like Rosie, I like that stuff, but it there needs to be some other substance around it and other people. I really like Finley and Jack Tobani. I know a lot of people like Finley. It seems you either love Finley or you don't like her at all. And I have always liked Finley. I think that her backstory is interesting, and maybe that's because waspy, emotionally manipulative, sort of old rich white people thing speaks to my kind of like family and the sort of environment that I grew up in. I mean, my school was just, I went to school with Kaylee McEnany. Like, this is who I've been dealing with my whole life, these sorts of people. So there's some sort of familiarity there.
Didn't know she was gay. Don't go there. Don't do it. I mean, you're just so pretty. She went there. Oh my God. Yikes.
But I really do like the Finley and Carrie sort of friendship too. I think Jack Tobani is absolutely by far the best actress out of the, you know, the Gen Q newbie cast members. And I think that she really gets to shine when she's up with someone like Rosie O'Donnell, where they can kind of go back and forth.
Oh, excuse me. Who are you? I'm Carrie. I've been filling in your absence. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Well, I hope you like cleaning up messes, because she's really good at making them.
Whereas I just don't think there's that kind of caliber with the rest. So it's obviously like, you know, sometimes with acting, it's like back and forth. So I do really like these scenes.
Well, now I know where she fucking learned it. Oh, is that right?
You know what? Shit's kind of hard when your mom kicks you out of the house at 17 years old.
That is not what happened.
It is.
The other thing that I think is going to be quite interesting is what's going on with Tess, because it's always when people portray like substance abuse or alcoholics, or even this where someone has a relapse, they will always portray it in television and film as if this person has this like rock bottom moment where they're like out of control and like everybody knows. But there's so many people who are functional addicts and they can still keep a job together and keep their house together and all that stuff. Okay, like they're maybe either very broken or miserable inside, or they're dealing with a lot emotionally, but they can get from one day to the next. And I think, you know, like the way they had Finley like literally pissing in corridors, that is not everyone's story. So I do think maybe they're gonna go this angle with Tess, because last time, you know, that Tess had a relapse in season 1, she like got drunk at work and was like sleeping with Finley and stuff. But I do think this like hiding angle may bring something interesting in the future. And then I think that it also Finley dealing with it as her sponsor like has a relapse will be interesting as well. And I do like to see more of this stuff in the media. I've talked before about LGBTQ people, you know, have a really higher rate of substance abuse and things. And I just, it's something that I'd be interested in. But again, it's not something that can drive the L word. Like, this is an addition. This cannot be the focal point of a show that is predominantly a soap opera with gorgeous people. We need, you know, drama and interesting things going on. Like, it can't just be passable.
God, I love the drama though. I do.
So Angie and Shane, I really like this stuff. I think there should have been more of it. There was only a handful of scenes. I do think it's really interesting what they're doing with having Kate on the phone, Shane on the phone in the last episode and Alice on the phone in this episode. I mean, obviously I can't see their contracts, but from what I know about any show that I've ever worked on or had dealings with, you will be paid even if you are just doing a voice. So what a lot of productions do is when an actress leaves because they're pregnant and they go on maternity leave, because they're going to miss like a significant number of episodes, say they're a series regular in a show like Friends or The Office or something where they have 24 episodes a season, Grey's Anatomy, and they're going to miss like a chunk of 6 episodes, they will try and film like a scene from either end so they can stretch them in and maybe only miss 4 episodes. And then they will do things like have a voice over or voice in one of the episodes, so at least they're able to pay them for those episodes. But I will say, I have a feeling that the OGs, whatever way their contracts are structured, it's different because, as we've seen, like Jennifer Beals is still credited throughout. And normally, if you're credited but you don't appear, you aren't paid. But I would wager a guess that the OGs still, do have payment no matter what. And I do happen to know for a fact that they are paying Jennifer Beals for every episode. And she deserves it. Everybody get their coin, especially the OGs. They're, I think, being paid to like not say anything. I don't know the case with Seppi because obviously this could be like an OG thing. It could be a Showtime thing, but I do know that Jennifer Beals definitely is. So I would wager that it's the same with Kate and Leisha, and maybe they just thought, oh, well, get them to do a voiceover so it's not such a huge absence and they're still sort of there in the back of people's minds for these episodes. And they can kind of get them to do the voiceover because they can be like, hey, you're being paid anyway, so just add a couple of lines when you come in for ADR, which, again, when people do come in to do ADR, they have to do it every season. Like, it's very, very, very rare. I don't think I've ever seen a show where someone doesn't have to come in for ADR. So with how few lines they had, they would just stick it on when they're in the booth doing the ADR stuff. So it's not really like they have to give some huge amount of time to do it. It's literally just like a few minutes tacked on the end of the ADR day. So I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but I mean, you know the deal with this channel, like it's not day one. So the Angie and Shane stuff, again, I really liked it, and I just really liked the relationship with Shane and Angie. I mean, being an aunt is all the fun stuff where she's like, oh, do you want to take his parking pass? I like that bit where Shane is just always looking out for Angie, and they do have what seems to be like a really great relationship, and I'd love to see more of this. I'd just love to see more of Alice, Shane, and Angie, because even the couple of interviews that I've seen with Jordan, Kate, and Leisha, they have really great chemistry, and you can see that on screen, obviously. So I really wish they would give them more to do. I would much rather have spent the majority of the episode even just with Shane and Angie and kind of like little hijinks that they were up to. I do think it was truly, truly bizarre to not say anything about the fact that Angie is away from her parents. She's 18, 19, like most college, university students come home for holidays, and it's the first time she's ever lived away from her parents, and it wasn't mentioned, it wasn't addressed, nothing. Like, that is bizarre, because even just a line like, oh, my parents decided to go on vacation for Thanksgiving, or I couldn't get there because of the storm, like anything whatsoever, but it's like they are actively just trying to ignore, not say anything. And it's like the whole thing with Gigi, like, just because you don't say anything, it doesn't mean we're not going to, or we're not going to notice. Actually, it draws more attention to it, because people are like, what the fuck is going on? I honestly, I'm gonna talk about this at my live tonight with Jess and Evelyn and Amanda. I'll put the link below. Make sure you come if you want to hear everything, because this is some of the most bizarre stuff I've ever seen when it comes to a TV show. I think everybody's aware now, like there's serious shit going on behind the scenes, and it's not for me to sit here and say this and this, but and obviously, like, I don't know everything, like I'm not there, but from what I hear and stuff, and it's just like a mess. And for them to not be able to just be professional and to just say, you know what, like, okay, everything's on fire, but at least let's promote the show. At least just like promote these 2 episodes, do these 2 episodes, do a whole big song and dance, and let's just get the end of the season out and finish. Or to not be able to do that, to actively ignore and all this stuff. And I know some people were asking me about this on Twitter. Well, why did they do like all the Tibette is Endgame stuff and the vans and the billboards? That was all done by Kelsey, who was the like basically the manager of all social media and the marketing and everything like that. Kelsey doesn't work there anymore. So Kelsey, that was her, like literally her last job was doing those billboards and the bus and Dinah Shore. So she's not there anymore. So that's why things have gone very differently from then. It's just truly bizarre. And I know I've talked about all this stuff a lot, but the whole thing that they're doing here, like ignoring the Gigi thing, like basically ignoring Bette and Tina, having this like season of guest stars and all this stuff, it just looks ridiculous. Like it looks ridiculous that you've had your most popular character from Gen Q leave after the first 3 episodes and you've not addressed it. All of this looks like a disaster. Like at least make up some PR bullshit. And I just can't even imagine what they're trying to do here or why they think these are good decisions, because if anything, they're not saying anything, and whatever they're doing, it just draws even more attention to it. So I will be discussing this in way more detail tonight at the live with Jess, Evelyn, and Amanda. So make sure you come if you want to hear everything. I will leave it up for replay, and the link will work for the live and for the replay. So make sure that you're subscribed, follow me on social media for all the details. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.